If you've been crying over nothing, snapping at people, isolating yourself, or just feeling like you're doing everything wrong, this video is for you. And I want to tell you that you are not a mess. You're not doing healing wrong, and you're also not falling apart or broken. You're actually on the path and moving in the right direction. Because here's what's happening. You're finally feeling safe enough to feel. And you're getting closer to truth. And truth is painful when we've been living in illusion that kept us safe, that kept us small. When the illusion cracks and we start to let ourselves feel more, when our nervous system capacity expands, we start to feel more. Emotions rise. Things look a little more chaotic. Contrary to popular belief, healing does not look like you suddenly go up this hill where you just become like a stoic monk. Like equanimity is just next step. Okay, great. Now I'm a monk. No. Part of the process is finally grieving the wounds and the parts of yourself, by the way, that up until this point, you've been numb to. Healing often looks like grief that you can't explain. Like, try to analyze, don't even know where it's coming from, but it's coming from somewhere in the body, right? Emotional chaos, irritability, maybe even rage that you didn't know you were carrying. All of that is sacred, and it's been sitting in your body and in your auric field, and it's now coming up because you have reached a point where your consciousness is rising, your nervous system capacity is expanding, and you're finally able to process it so you can release it. Healing in reality is actually like things get worse before they get better. Because again, we're moving from numbness into truth. And to do so, it's not a process of thinking. It's not a process of analyzing, oh, my trauma was XYZ, or this is what I've struggled with my whole life. No, it's feeling it. All of the energy that's stored in the body, it's moving that through expression, movement, somatic experience, and so on. Because when we're in survival mode, so much grief gets shoved down. Our society and Western culture conditions us to suppress. And we often don't feel safe when we are in survival in certain environments or just in society in general. We don't feel safe to express those parts of ourselves. We feel shame around them. So when they do start surfacing, I know it can feel like things are falling apart, but it's really the other way around. Because in order to process things, they have to rise to the surface. They have to become conscious so that we can let them go. This is called integration. It's when, like I said, numbness or your freeze state is melting. The numbness is lifting, you're waking up, and your feelings finally feel safe enough to be witnessed and felt. So let me make it clear, you are not regressing. This is the work. This is healing. And if anyone tells you otherwise, they don't understand because they are not integrated themselves. Anyone who has truly done shadow work and deep integration understands that healing is messy and it's ugly, and it's when all the parts of ourselves, the exiled parts of ourselves by both ourselves, our family, society, whatever, come to the surface to be witnessed for once. And that is a messy thing because these parts of ourselves are wounded for that reason. It hurts to be exiled. It hurts to be suppressed. So all of that comes up and it's messy. And other people who witness that, it doesn't look like what society has deemed as normal. This is like also, I would kind of put this under the feminine energy umbrella of like the feminine energy, the divine feminine that our society is so collectively suppressing and rejecting. This is feminine energy, raw feminine energy. Let it move. It's divine, it's sacred, and it's also going to liberate you, even if it's really painful and scary. And also honor these parts of yourself. Because that's the truth is these parts of you, those wounds, are there because they lacked that love. And this is where we get to reparent ourselves into transformation. I think there was a saying somewhere that was like something along the lines of, you can't shame yourself into change. You can only love yourself into transformation. Don't quote me on that. And I might be paraphrasing, but something like that. But it's really true. This is an opportunity to witness the parts of yourself that deserve to be loved and that maybe never quite got the love from you, from your parents, from society, from your teachers, from your friends in the past. They are worthy of love. And there's nothing wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with you for having these parts of yourself. They were pushed into extreme forms of expression to protect yourself, to protect other more vulnerable parts of yourself. So honor these parts of you for keeping you safe, but also lovingly and consciously let them go so that you can make space for new energy, for your evolution. Also, understand that not everything needs to be analyzed. When things move through, again, this is mostly somatic. Most healing is somatic. It is feeling. It is felt. It is not something that needs to be analyzed. Most things are meant to be felt and moved and expressed. So much of the human intelligence and the body intelligence lives on a different plane. One that is deeper than thought. One that is deeper than analysis. It's deeper than the mind. That's why spirituality and so much of the things that we talk about on this channel will quite possibly never be able to be measured through science. Maybe eventually, if we get more advanced with our tools, maybe. But I still think that things will be a stretch to understand because the purpose of this work is to not necessarily always understand it in a rational way, but to be understood in a felt sense, to go deeper, to take an elevator ride down from the brain and into the heart and into the gut. And so the invitation here is to let things move through you, to feel them rise, and to just feel. You don't need to make sense of everything. And what I will say is, a lot of things that are asking for you to look more closely at, you're gonna get messages, you're gonna get information, but the feelings themselves are data and they don't need to be dissected in an analytical way. It doesn't hurt, it's not a bad thing necessarily to like notice patterns and to notice things, but noticing is very different than judging, right? So becoming the observer, not the judge in this process. I think a lot of people actually go in the wrong direction when we try to intellectualize our feelings. And again, like I said, the real work is somatic. So just remember that. It's okay if there's a part of you that wants to assess and judge. It's totally human. We all do it. But just know that the real work, the real processing, the real expression and transformation is going to come from leaning into your heart. And then once you do, that's when your consciousness expands. That's when the nervous system capacity expands. And that's when we start to have incredible revelations about, connecting the dots in a rational way. But we're much more limited in those revelations and really experiencing or observing or accessing that wisdom from the mind first. It has to come from the body first. It has to come from the integration first. Then we'll start to see so many amazing things that we didn't understand previously. So if you are in the mess right now, I need you to know you are right where you're supposed to be. You're doing everything right. And you're doing work that is so freaking difficult and courageous, and I need you to be so proud of yourself. I am so proud of you, and if it's hard to have pride in what you're doing, that's okay. I think that you will over time become more and more proud of the work you're doing, especially when you start to see the results and the rewards of doing so. Because it's liberating. When we grieve and we move through the mess with love and with acceptance and compassion, we are freeing ourselves and we are walking into a life where we have more control, where we have more freedom. That's what's on the other side of this for you. And so it's a scary and courageous path to walk, but it is so incredibly worth it. And And I'm just so proud of you, and I hope you know you're exactly where you need to be, and keep going. And give yourself so, so much credit. Some things that helped me a lot, especially in phases where I was very messy and chaotic and moving through a lot of deep grief and core wounds and shadows. Somatic, experiencing any kind of mindful movement is so huge, where the breath and the body come together and bring you into the present moment, where you start to kind of feel into your body more. So yoga, Pilates, some, intuitive dance, whatever you feel called to, even surfing potentially, swimming, those kinds of things where you really are in the moment, you're connected to breath. So important. The more you do that, the more you're gonna move through things, sometimes in ways you don't even consciously understand until later. And then of course, just being in nature and just giving yourself so much credit again and again and again. Remind yourself, just taking moments out of your day to just remember, you are a human being and you're doing your best. And that's enough to just take a deep breath, just notice, and then go back to your day. The more you have those little moments of just recognition and witness to yourself, that builds such profound compassion over time. It really, really, really has an impact over time. It's those little micro moments of awareness and presence and compassion to ourselves that really have build momentum over time. And as you move through things, I really do invite you to change your perception of what's happening. And rather than being like, I'm, losing it, or I'm breaking, or something's wrong with me, start asking yourself, what is moving through me? Because we are not our emotions. Our emotions are part of us. They're expressions of ourselves, right? But they're not us. We are the observer. So if you can ask yourself just what's moving through me and have more compassion for it, almost like it's a friend or, a young, wounded part of you. These parts of ourselves that are moving through, that we are grieving, that we are shedding, are really like wounded babies. They are like us as a baby trying to survive. And if we can really start recognizing this is just little me trying to survive, trying to be seen and witnessed, maybe we can start to have a little bit more compassion for ourselves, for how we're showing up. And it's okay if you're not at your full best right now. It's okay if you are not showing up in the way that you want to. You're going to get there, but you need to let this move through you in order to get to a place where you can be more balanced, where you can feel more in control and connected. So let whatever comes up come up with compassion, have patience, and know that you are on the right path for being where you are right now. So you are not too much. You are not falling apart. You are just finally feeling what your body has spent your whole life trying to protect you from and trying to push down. It's not weakness, it's evolution, and it is healing. Let me know in the comments if this resonated with you. Let me know what's come up for you and what you're moving through right now. I would love to hear from you. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. A lot more content like this. I will talk to you soon. Bye.